Has there been anything different about this fight camp compared to all your others in your career up to this point?
So the main thing is preparing for 5 rounds has been the big difference. So generally we don't just do like more and more rounds, like 10 rounds all the time, because you're preparing for a specific amount of time. You know, if you're doing like 3 5s in your fight, you need to be ready for 3 5s intensity. But now, because it's 5 5s, been doing like just those extra rounds, and it adds up a bit, but I felt fresh. I've just changed a few little things in nutrition, a few little things in recovery. My dad's not snoring as much, so I'm getting better sleep.
Yeah.
When there's not a big storm, so I'm very well recovered.
You were saying earlier you're still feeling, did them all them rounds, and you're still feeling pretty fresh at the minute.
Yeah, I can.
Felt like you could do more.
Yeah, my recovery is getting really good. Like, even after that was 30 to 40 minutes of just getting killed on the pads and killed with heavier people holding me down, me having to work out or take them down. And it was within a minute of that all finishing, went from complete dead to back to normal.
Yeah. I was going to ask you about how your weight's doing, but then I've just seen you come back into the gym with a Greg's, so must be doing all right there.
Yeah, the weight's going. That's one of the things about the plus sides of training for 5 rounds and having to do extra rounds grappling, extra rounds pads, all this and that, is that you are burning a bit more, so there's a bit more leeway for those little treats. Obviously needed a festive bake this morning, because got a lot of rounds in. That's my treat for the week as well.
Yeah.
I've built it up all week. That's my little treat before I get into like the really hard last cut dieting phase.
Yeah, I believe.
And it was really good.
Obviously,
it was nice and hot.
Yeah.
Oh, you just appreciate it more when you're training that hard and you're down on calories.
Try to shoot a fight promo and we get back to talking about food again.
Oh.
Mehdi Ben Lakdar, your opponent for the title. What do you make of him coming into it?
So he's a very exciting fighter. I like his style. He tends to like pick between his going on the front foot or the back foot, so it's just seeing which one he goes to. I was watching his last fight with Stephen McIntosh, and it was just exciting the way he starts. You know, he's holding onto the fence. He's waiting for the referee to clap the hands. When he claps the hands, he sprints into the centre. I'm like, you watch my last fights, that's what I've done. So it's just a match made in heaven. I think my style suits better over 5 rounds than Mehdi's. He's dangerous and I've got to give him respect, but over the 5 rounds my style will suit it a lot better.
Yeah. I think it's going to be pretty intense then, both of you two pushing the pace out.
Oh yeah. This is what I've wanted, because on this 4-fight win streak, the wins have been pretty I've had to work through stuff in the fights, but they've been pretty controlled. I've had a couple fights where I've really took no damage. The Dean Truman fight, all I had was like a right hand and I had to work up of a takedown. The last fight, I didn't take any damage, So I've been wanting these hard fights. It's a funny thing because Harry's had some really hard fights. When you have a really hard fight, you think, oh, God, I want the next one to be easier. But when you've had a string of easier fights and quicker finishes, you're like, I really want this fight to be hard. At the last trilogy, there was that great fight between Paul Hughes and Morgan Charrier. And just watching them after the fight, I want that feeling 5 rounds.
Was that getting you pumped up watching that?
Yeah, it's a really good fight. Just to know what that's like after 5 rounds of just pushing.
Yeah, I feel like there is no easy opponents at this level, because I feel like a Cage Warriors world title holds a lot of weight around, because obviously so many champions from Cage Warriors go on to fight in the UFC. I feel like it holds a lot of weight all around the world. Yeah, everyone at this level is UFC level. Everyone who's done well in the UFC has gone from Cage Warriors to the UFC. So at this level, at this belt level, this upper echelon, this me, Mehdi, McColgan, I think Figlak's really good as well. It's like UFC level fighters. Joe vacated the belt, which has obviously led to this matchup. Obviously, ideally, you winning this fight in 2 weeks' time. Do you picture yourself then facing Joe after that? Definitely. You want to fit, especially when someone hasn't lost the belt from a fight. No one's taken the belt from him. You don't want to leave doubt. You want to fight them. You want to test yourself against them, and you want to put a stamp on it. I really like Joe McColgan. He's grafted until he won the belt. I like their team.
but I really want to face him. I hope everything goes well in his life so he can get back like March, April, May into next year.
Yeah, I think this will be I think I'm correct saying this is the third fight this year for you?
Yeah.
Is this time last year, is this where you pictured yourself being?
So the thing was, this time last year was like a no man's land. I had the fight in Bellator with Nicola Solli in Milan. It was a good performance. I didn't manage to get like a really impressive finish, but I managed to win over the rounds. But then after that, wasn't contracted to anyone. It was a bit of like a limbo land, not knowing where the next fight's going to be. So I had this first half of the year until June. There was no activity. Harry was really struggling with it. Harry had to go to Croatia to get a fight. So
was that because of coronavirus?
A bit of coronavirus, a bit of like we didn't know what direction, we didn't know where to sign with. But since signing with Cage Warriors, things have just been perfect in terms of getting this schedule of fights. This is what me and Harry have wanted all our careers, is just this defined schedule. Because even without coronavirus, if you're not signed to anyone like a good promotion like Cage Warriors, it's limbo land, like where your next fights are. You could have one fight somewhere and then you've got no idea when the next fight is. It's like every other sport, you've got this schedule of competing this week. But MMA doesn't have that, and it can be a bit of a mental struggle when you don't have that. But thanks to Cage Warriors, thanks to signing with Cage Warriors, I've had that constant schedule of good opponents over this half of the year, and it's been just awesome.
Yeah. Do you like the process of going from one fight camp to the next?
Yeah, this is the best I've ever felt, and it's having this bounce from fight camp to fight camp. Because I had that long stint without a fight after the Solly fight, towards the Solly fight to the Truman fight. But since the Truman fight, it's just been bouncing from fight camp to fight camp. Luckily, being able to do that, I've not had big injuries from the fight. I've not had any injuries from the fights. Being able to get back rolling like 2 or 3 days after. Yeah. And it felt really good. This is the happiest I've ever been in my career.
Yeah.
And it's just the best rhythm being in my career.
Are you more confident now? Because you've been so active, and because you've had them fights, you coming off and taking so little damage, it's built your confidence up to this title fight.
And especially the Cage Warriors, because every promotion, the process is like a little bit different. Their fight week process, and I really felt it last time. You know, when I fought Dean Truman in June, it was almost like a new thing. Going to York Hall, a new venue. First time I'd fought in London. Like Harry's fought in London before, but that was the first time I fought in London. It was a new thing. But then when I fought Donnell in the last fight, it was almost like deja vu. Same changing rooms, you know, same times of day, like same coach trip. It was deja vu, and I was just incredibly comfortable with the whole experience.
Do you like the whole setup down there then? Yeah,
I loved it. Love the history of the York Hall. Just thinking who's been in those back rooms, like the boxing legends who've been in there. Yeah, and it's just very, very organised and well run with Cage Warriors. It's just good having. I know when I'm fighting. I know when everything's set up. It's perfect.
Yeah. Obviously, Mehdi Ben Lakdaw's undefeated coming into this fight. Does that play on your mind or?
It doesn't play on my mind. I've fought undefeated people before. It's just, you know, it's going to be a new experience to break someone who's undefeated. Sometimes you've had someone who's taken a couple losses before and they're more ready to accept being broken, accept looking for the way out. When someone's undefeated, they haven't tasted that and they want to protect that a bit more. So I just expect to have to break them down a little bit more and a little bit more.
I love that breaking him. How are you planning on doing that, or is that not something you're able to share with us?
It's just the simple stuff done aggressively and consistently. I can't go any more complicated than that. The simple stuff, aggressively and consistently.
Yeah. What else can people expect from this fight?
I think, you know, could be the best fight of the whole double trouble. Best Cage Warriors fight of the year. But I'm not planning on that. I want to break them down and run through them.